Welcome into the Skinny Podcast. It's the weekly potpourri edition. I'm Richard Skinner, Local12.com digital sports columnist and editor with Rick Broering. As always, it's presented by Blake the Attorney Mason. We got a lot of college basketball to talk about after a busy Wednesday. We've got some Bengals to talk about, circling back to the Duke Tobin press conference from Friday. The college football playoffs are set. The coaching carousel in the NFL continues to evolve. And, of course, my favorite part of the podcast where you can ask me a question on any topic. Just hit up the hashtag AskSkinnyAnything. I got one via email we'll get to that I really liked. So we got a lot to do. Let's do it, Rick.
Okay, we're going to have a big Ask Skinny Anything segment thing because I got a few questions as well. Let's start in college basketball, Skinny. It was a crazy night last night in the college basketball world all across the country, but that included the Kentucky Wildcats who beat Mississippi State on a buzzer beater. They beat Mississippi State over the weekend. They beat LSU on a buzzer beater by Malachi Moreno, 75-74. They beat Mississippi State 92-68 over the weekend. They were down 38-22 at halftime of this LSU game. They looked as bad as they've looked all season, probably in the first half of this one. To come back and win it felt like something this team and this coaching staff really needed, I think.
Well, make no mistake. I mean, they're still kind of on a little bit of life support when it comes to NCAA tournament talk. I know Bracket Matrix has them, I believe, as a 10 seed.
10 seed right now.
And I think Joe Lenardi also had them in as a 10 seed. So they're in at the moment, but they're dangling. And I think a loss last night would have just about ended the season, to be quite frank, just because of how hard the SEC is. It's so wild, Rick. If you go look at the SEC standings, everybody has at least a loss. I feel it looks like there's like 8 teams that are 2-2, and then there's a couple teams with 1 win, and LSU's yet to win a game. So that was a game you could ill afford to lose, even though it was on the road. And give them credit. I mean, the comeback itself was great to get them actually a lead after being down by 18. Then they gave up the lead. Then they give up 2 free throws. Otega Oweh then goes down and makes the first to cut it to 1. You're thinking, okay, going to go to overtime. Misses the second. Then you get fortunate. LSU misses 2 free throws, and then you come up with the home run miracle play. It was a great shot by Malachi Moreno. I mean, you think of him really as a guy that just kind of is a basket hanger for the most part. But, man, he caught that, smoothly turned around and swished it. And it saved their season. It still could go south. I think you'd agree with that, but it saved their season for now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean anything long term. I don't know that this is the biggest win in the world, but things were spiraling for this group, and I think this would have been because especially with the way that they played early in that game, it was one that was going to look and feel really bad with the fan base, I think, given the current state of the fan base. So it at least gets a little bit of that pressure off of your back. And when you're at Kentucky, the fan base pressure is a legitimate thing, man. Like, them bearing down on you just to get them. And it is funny, like, the one thing I'll give UK fans credit for is, like, I think right now, UC or Xavier, if your team gets a win, like UC or Xavier did last night, it's like, okay, we won the game, but this season's not headed where we wanted it to. What's in store for next year? Like, UK fans were elated to win that game. Every time UK fans win, it means the world to them. They're posting videos of their reactions to the shot and everything. Like, you couldn't tell the difference between that being an NCAA tournament game or a game for Kentucky to try to get back off the schneid there.
Yeah, a random Wednesday in January win is really what it was. But you had to have it. I think for not only, again, just from a record standpoint, just from the fact of where you sit when it comes to NCAA tournament talk at the moment, but this thing could have really spiraled. I mean, you suffered an awful loss at home to Missouri, played horrible at Alabama, played bad. Honestly, the Mississippi State's win, if you just look at the score, like, wow, Kentucky they were down at one point in that game in the first half, not playing very well. So it's kind of been a theme of them getting off the bad starts. And again, I'm not here to tell you this moves the needle much for me for this team at the moment. I mean, I've seen some individual improvement, not just because Malachi Moreno made the shot last night. He was great in the Mississippi State game. He's played really well here of late, and it looks like he's getting better and better and better, and he's just a freshman. Otega Oweh starting to play the way you expected him to play when the season started, but still, this team has a lot of flaws, and they're going to get exposed in this league. Because, I mean, I swear, you look up and, wow, what a win on a Wednesday, and, oh, by the way, I got to go to Tennessee on a Saturday. It's just a hard league.
It is. Yeah. Otega Oweh finished with 21. Denzel Aberdeen was big in this one. He had 17 points. The guy that's starting to stand out to me, Skinny, he got a start in this one. He's making some big plays, is Yelovich.
Yep. He did.
He finished with 11 points and 5 rebounds. They need somebody else to step up, especially with the news that came out within the last week that Jalen Lowe has decided to get surgery on his shoulder and will be out the rest of the season. You mentioned the tournament a little bit ago, bracket matrix, Lunardi. Can this Kentucky team make the tournament without Jalen Lowe?
I don't think so. Unless you do get some production from that 4 spot where Yelovich started last time. He's been looking and searching for answers for that for a while now. For a moment, it was Diabate, and then he seems to be a finger-pointing guy that's gotten in fights with teammates, and he and Pope have yelled at each other, and I think he's a little banged up too. Jaden Quaintance really never got to full swing, and that's been a struggle. So, maybe to your point of him starting and playing well, that can help. I'm still of the belief, I'm not so sure. I just don't put the ball in Oweh's hands, and he's the point guard, if you will, by de facto. And maybe now you can play some of the Zoom offense through Malachi Moreno that you couldn't play through Brandon Garrison. And maybe you can play more and more of that as the season goes along, or maybe you get into high screen and roll action with him. Can they? They can. I just think it's going to be really hard because, again, when you start to go through the grind of this schedule, you're going to probably need a legit point guard, and they just don't really have that. I'm
dying to watch the UK faithful flood the Texas Roadhouse in Dayton for the first 4.
That would be something. Imagine? Or Frickers or Frickers up there.
Well, you're going to need a few restaurants because Dayton doesn't quite have the infrastructure for. It's not exactly Catlanta.
No, that's a really good point. I think they're again, Lunardi does it in different ways, but I think he has them as one of the last 4 buys at the moment. Again, this is super, super early, as we know, but you're when he has them at a 10, bracket matrix has them at a 10, you're very much teetering on the brink there.
Yeah, and you can just look at where they're at right now, and it's pretty obvious that this is a team that's going to.
I will say this: if you look at a lot of teams, around them, though, I think what you're seeing in these mega conferences is you just got to kind of hang on for dear life, just because you're not going to. You're really, unless you're the elite of the elites, you're not going to. Your record's not going to be glossy for the most part.
Well, exactly, and you have uneven schedules, right? So sometimes your record may look terrible through the first 10 games or whatever it is, but you faced the most difficult part of your slate early on, and now you're going to have easy sledding the rest of the way, and the rest of the teams are going to play a more difficult slate in conference play. So it's not, you can't get too worked up about an early conference record, but I think you can also see with the way Kentucky's been playing that this thing's going to come right down to those final games to see whether they're going to be on the right side of the bubble or not, I think.
Correct.
All right, what about Xavier? This was a nice performance for them. Actually, back-to-back performances. They beat Providence over the weekend, 97-84. Followed that up with a convincing win over Butler, 89-75 last night. Trey Carroll went nuts again. This was like the crosstown shootout performance when he had 30 on UC. He had 29 points and 9 rebounds in this one. Now, he wasn't dishing out the assists, but that's because Butler never really stopped him. He just kept going by them and scoring in this one. Xavier had 5 players in double figures. Really, it was just paint touches all night long. I think that's the key for the Xavier team. If they can get into the paint against you and get the ball moving a little bit, then they can have some success. But when teams have been able to cut down on the ball movement, get out in the passing lanes, and they can't win one-on-one matchups and beat them off the dribble, it's just like they go nowhere. They just stagnate.
So I'll ask you this, because the 2 performances from Trey Carroll, the shootout and this one last night, make you go, gosh, can he do that more? And I just wonder, is it more matchup based? He's got the physical body for it, but again, you're playing some teams that probably have some more length as physical bodies. Is it literally just matchup based that when he has a chance to bully people, he can, and he just doesn't have that chance a lot?
I think it's matchup based, but the kid from Butler, Ajayi, is not the guy that I was necessarily expecting him to bully. And it wasn't just all against him one-on-one. There were other guys guarding him throughout the night, but there were times where they were matched up against each other. And that's a physical freak, a big-time athlete that he's doing that against. So to your point, I do think it's more scheme matchup based, meaning it depends on kind of how the help defense reacts to him and what the team does with double teams. And like a lot of teams after the UC game just said, okay, we're not going to let Trey Carroll beat us with post-up ISOs and that extended, flipping his hips around in that Barkley action and backing us down from the perimeter. We're going to go send the double team and make him give the ball up. But if teams don't do that and they let him operate, and I also think he's getting a little bit better understanding, like, okay, I'm going to have to be a little more aggressive and decisive in these situations, I'm not going to be able to mosey my way in, backing guys down because they're going to bring a help defender. So I think he's finding more creases and quick straight line drives to the basket recently that have helped him a little bit. But yeah, for this Xavier team, I think it is entirely matchup dependent right now, whether or not they can get their offense going. And the funny part about it is, I just mentioned this on my Musketeer Report podcast this past week. As much as we thought this was going to be a new style of team and a new looking team because of the way Pitino plays his defense, the way he uses his postmen and everything, because the post players haven't worked out and they've gone to the small ball lineup, they really are very similar to last year's Xavier team and who they match up well against and who they don't match up well against, because they're ultimately relying a lot on the same style of offense that Sean Miller ran with the up-tempo style and getting out in transition. And they rely on a lot of ball movement and be able to sling it around. It's not necessarily making three-pointers, because they didn't make a lot of three-pointers in this game on Wednesday night against Butler, but they have to be able to move the ball around the perimeter and have the threat of you chasing their three-pointers so they can beat you off the bounce and get those paint touches. And if they're able to do that, then they seem to be okay and have much more of a chance. The problem is, if you don't play that style and you actually get out in the pass lanes, cut down their ball movement, I'm not sure that it takes a lot of talent to beat them. It does seem like it's just almost entirely based on the scheme you're playing against them defensively right now.
And they needed that win last night, because this next 6-game stretch, I mean, there's 5 losses in it. I mean, 5 almost automatic losses, to be quite frank, and the only winnable is probably DePaul at home. Maybe they steal St. John's at home. I don't think they do. But I mean, this next 6-game stretch, it could get ugly, and it would have gotten uglier if it started last night with a loss.
Yeah, I mean, you had those 2 games that were close with DePaul and Marquette where they could have gone either way. You lose both of them, and it felt like, okay, you're coming back home with 2 more games that are going to be similar to that. 2 games that you could win, but they're going to be close, and if you don't find a way to win them down the stretch, then it's like, okay, how long do you go without another win at that point, right? So it was good for them that they were able to get these 2 wins back-to-back and at least get a little momentum headed into this stretch, because who knows when the next win is coming. It wouldn't be easy for anyone in the Bees right now to win during the stretch that they have coming up, much less a team that's a little undermanned this year.
Yeah, no question.
All right, Cincinnati had lost 3 straight after falling by 1 to UCF 73-72, but then they beat Colorado 77-68 at home last night. They were up 43-25 at halftime of this game. They let Colorado crawl back into it, get it down to single digits. I think they were within 5 at one point.
Right. Yeah, that sounds right.
7 or 5, but then UC ended up winning the game. They did outscore them 43-34 in the second half, so they still won the second half by 9 points. But overall, a much-needed win for the Bearcats. Baba Miller goes for 25 points and 11 rebounds, and Mustafa Sham had 15 points, so a really nice night out of their front court.
Well, that's back-to-back games from Mustafa Sham, too, because he played really well in the UCF game. Maybe he's found something to start playing almost exclusively through those 2 guys, and because they're getting production from both of them. And listen, the worst part for you, well, not the worst part, the tough part for UC is you get this win, a needed win to get you off the schneid in the league, and then, oh, by the way, back-to-back, you got to play the number 2 team in the country, Iowa State. It is at home, and the number 1 team in the country in Arizona. I mean, you have no time to go, we finally got a win, because in the next 2, you can get punched right back in the mouth and start a slide again.
Well, the good news is in the loss to UCF, Wes Miller did say that he feels like they're the best team in the country. They can beat anyone. So Arizona really shouldn't be a problem, I don't think.
Hey, go get the number 2 and the number 1 team back to back.
You're right back in it.
You got a chance to prove it.
You're right back in it. One thing that was impressive about this Colorado game, they were just 3 for 16 from 3-point range.
Yep.
And they find a way to win it. Those are some of the games where it feels like in Wes Miller's tenure, you don't find a way when they haven't thrown some in and shot a normal percentage. Those are the games where they can't generate enough offense to scratch out a win, even at home, even against a team you're supposed to win. And in this game, I think they were tough enough. They got to the free throw line a lot. They played with some force on the offensive end, but they also executed a little bit on offense when they needed to. When the game got close again, they made a few plays.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they played awful since Big 12 started, right? I mean, you have Houston on the ropes, can't finish that off. You at UCF, you have the ball in hand with a shot to win that game. So it's not like – I don't think this is an awful team by any stretch. I just don't know if it's good enough to beat really good teams. And this league is filled with really good teams.
Well, and that's part of why this season has been an indictment on Wes Miller, because no one thought it was an awful team. And I think that's been proven. They're not good. The pieces don't maybe fit all together perfectly, but it's not a terrible team talent-wise. They're capable of winning some games.
In West Virginia, they blew that game too.
Right. All right. There have been multiple situations like that this year. What did you think of the whole paper bag game situation? You had one of the internet accounts, the social media accounts saying there's going to be a paper bag game, wear a paper bag over your head. Then UC acknowledges it publicly from the official account saying that's against our arena policy. You cannot bring brown paper bags into the arena. Then you have Miami of Ohio coming off the top rope, putting out a tweet saying, no paper bags needed over here, just good basketball. Upgrade your tickets, with a link to buy tickets at Miami. What was your whole take on that deal this week?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to tell fans what to do. You do you. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm a fan, I'm going to go to a game and put a paper bag over my head no matter how disappointed I am with my team, for goodness sakes. And I hate to say it to Miami. I mean, that fan base is a joke. And I hate to say that to our friend Jed Demusi. They don't show up. I mean, show up. How about you do that? Your team is undefeated, man. Undefeated. Show up, Miami fans.
Yeah, I'm about done with his squawking. Undefeated team, they can't even sell out their arena. Relax, pipe down.
Can't even sell out. I think they had 2,500 a couple games ago.
It's embarrassing. NKU.
What did you think of the paper bag thing?
Well, if you're an official account, do not acknowledge. It looks so soft to acknowledge stuff like this. Like, even if your security is going to take paper bags when the student section is walking in, even if you're going to do that, don't acknowledge it with a tweet and mention it beforehand, because you're just going to get clowned from it. And I mean, the Miami tweet was kind of weird. Quiet down, Miami. Relax. Yeah, exactly. That was kind of shocking to see it come from its official account too. But this is a weird world we live in, when you have everybody someone has a job to get clicks and views for the official university's account. And those two things are usually at odds with each other, being a professional university account and trying to get clicks and views.
Yes,
so as long as we have that situation going on, we're always going to end up with weird things like this happening, where it's like, who thought that was a good idea?
I mean, if your fan base wants to come put a bag on their head, so what?
Right.
I mean, they've already paid for the ticket.
Yeah, I mean, it's only going to make it worse to acknowledge it, make it a thing, have Wes get asked more about it in post-game interviews. Like, I thought he did an okay of answering the question about that during the post-game.
Yeah.
Just saying we're focused on the people that are cheering for us. And
exactly. That's a great answer, actually.
Yeah. All right, NKU went on the road to Wisconsin over the weekend. They won at Milwaukee, had another great performance there, but then lost by 2 at Green Bay in a game in which they got way behind early, clawed all the way back, had about 3 chances in the final minute to either tie or win it, and just couldn't come up with any of those shots or plays. They will host Detroit tonight and Robert Morris on Saturday. Skinny, the 2 first halves against Youngstown State at home and then Milwaukee on the road were sublime. I mean, I think that's about as well as I've ever seen NKU play at any point since I've gone to school there.
Yeah, I mean, they were dynamic halves, both of them. Then Youngstown kind of crawled back in that game. And you can see they've got the spurt ability. I mean, they were down significant to Green Bay in the second half and came charging back. So you have that in you. I think that's the one thing I would be encouraged with is, while you sit at 5-3, I think in the league, I think I have that right. And Wright State, I believe right now is either 6-1 or 5-1. They've only got 1 loss, so they're in first place. I mean, on a given night, NKU's as good as any team in this league, if not better than most, in my opinion. I mean, the 2 of your losses are the 1-pointer at Fort Wayne and then the one in Green Bay by 2 points after you clawed all the way back. I mean, you're going to lose some road games in a conference, no matter how good you are usually. And so I think I'd be encouraged, to be honest with you, that this team, get them on a neutral floor in March. They're as good, if not better, than anybody in this league. And right now, the way they're playing offensively, if they get the defensive side figured out more, they're going to be hard to beat in March.
Yeah, Wright State is 6-1. Oakland is 5-2. Green Bay is 5-2. Then NKU and Purdue Fort Wayne are both 5-3. I guess you have to give Green Bay their props and include them in the conversation because they have the record. They're sitting there at 5-2. But to me, it feels pretty clear now. I've been on the parity train all year so far with the Horizon League, saying, look, everyone kind of feels the same right now. to me now, after we've gotten through a handful of weeks here, it does feel like Wright State, Oakland, and NKU are the top 3 teams. And if you want to say I'm biased and I'm putting NKU in that conversation, maybe they don't belong. Okay, fine. Say Wright State and Oakland are the 2 best teams. That's fine. But NKU's already seen Oakland. That was a game that they very much could have won. They didn't come up with the plays at the end, lost at home to Oakland. But I think it's a team that they match up okay against. Wright State I've watched, and if they're the best team in the conference, which the metrics say they are, the record says they are, they're not a very dynamic offensive team. They're very tough defensively. They're very different from how they've been recently. They're disciplined. They play 2 freshmen a lot of minutes and rely on one of them very heavily. Again, not saying they're not a good team, but my point is, if that's the team that's supposed to be the best in the conference, and you feel like you've got 4 dynamic offensive players in NKU, and you're in that conversation, feels like you got a legit chance. I'll take my chance with the team that has 4 dynamic scorers over the team that's got 1.5, 2 dynamic scorers and a tough defensive group.
Agreed. No, I agree. I think now you need to pay off some of these close games with wins just from a seeding perspective in the conference tournament.
Yeah, that's right. One thing is their transition offense. I mean, it feels like it is overwhelming some opposing teams. Even Green Bay at times when NK was trying to make its comeback in that game, it was like, man, there is nothing they can do to stop Donovan O'Day from going right to the basket if he wants to do that. He has especially been fantastic. He's averaging over 17 points in conference play, but they rank number 2 in the entire nation in transition points scored per game at 25.7 points per game. They're number 2 behind only Georgia in the entire country. Skinny, I knew it was good, but I just looked it up before we were doing the show because I wanted to see how good. Number 2 in the country is insane. I mean, the way they're playing on the offensive end, if you're an NKU fan, you haven't gotten out to watch them this year, they're as fun to watch as you'll see at the mid-major level. Well,
and the good point to that is those are usually easy points because you're getting them coming downhill at people and usually in odd-numbered situations. And so no matter how good your offense is, the less offense you have to run, usually the better off you're going to be. And scoring 25 transition points, that's do the math. I mean, there's some threes mixed in, but that's probably 10 to 12 possessions a game right there. You're getting fairly easy buckets.
Yeah, I think it was they're averaging 10 transition baskets per game.
There you go. Okay, yeah,
like 9.9. Yeah. So, it's they've just been awesome at getting the ball out, and it's even after makes. Sometimes the opposing team scores, it comes through the net, they pull it out of the net, get it out, and go and fly right back at them for a basket, and that's that's invaluable to me when you answer a basket immediately with a basket.
Yeah, we had one last night in a game I coached in last night where a team banged a 3, and we were actually playing really good defense, but they got a 3 that kind of gave them a deep breath for a second. We hit them right back with it out of the net, 2 passes down the floor, layup, and it's like we were mad about the 3 we gave up because we got mixed up on a screen, and before we could get totally mad about it, we're scoring the other. I said, okay, we lost 1 point in that duel right there. And there's nothing more deflating than you just ran good offense, made a shot, again, to kind of stem the tide for them, and the other team just goes right down the floor, gets a layup, doesn't have to run offense, and it just feels like a punch in the gut when it happens.
That's the thing to me. It's like, yeah, okay, they came out a point ahead in that scenario, but it feels worse than that for some reason. Because it's like the coaching staff is now pissed at you because even though you just hit the big shot, now they're pissed because you didn't get back on defense. It's like whatever momentum or good vibes you had after that made 3 are all out the window completely because you didn't stop the ball in transition. You gave up a layup. It's like it's such a momentum thing there.
It is, and I've had it happen and vice versa, right? And it's like we just ran good offense for 40 seconds, got the greatest look we could get, made it, and we don't match up in transition because we decide we're going to either celebrate, look in the crowd, whatever. It's deflating.
Yeah. I mentioned they've got Detroit Mercy and Robert Morris this weekend, Detroit Mercy tonight. The good thing about the conference this year is aside from like IU, Indy, and Cleveland State, nobody stinks. Like no one's losing every game right now. Detroit Mercy actually has a winning record this year. They've been much better in conference play. They're 4-3 than Robert Morris. Obviously, the defending champs, they're 3-4. They've hit some stumbles, but they've also had a difficult early conference slate to go. So I think they're going to go on a nice stretch here and be back in the mix over the next few weeks. So 2 good games this week if you do want to catch the Norse.
They are 2 good games, but that's the thing. If you are a legit contender in your league, win your home games. I mean, win the majority. You're not going to win them all probably, but win your home games. And so just take care of business because you're at home.
Yeah, exactly. If you hold serve at home now, it's pretty clear this year it's going to be hard to win games on the road for everyone. So if you hold serve at home and you steal one on the road every trip like you did last week, you're in great shape.
Exactly.
All right, let's switch gears here to the Bengals, Skinny. It was an interesting week last week because you guys finally got to speak to Duke Tobin. I know a lot of people have put a lot of different pieces of content out there from those conversations since they happened. What stood out to you the most about the Duke Tobin press conference?
A couple things. One, I just don't understand how he thinks that the status quo is fine with the way they operate. And I asked the question of, you've missed the playoffs 3 straight years. You've gone 2 times in the last 10 years. You say you have confidence in your staff doing their job. Why should fans have confidence in your staff and in you? And he said, I understand if they don't. Well, that's fine. But at different points, he talked about, that they feel like the way they're doing it's the right way. We have all the information we need. Do you, though? I mean, the proof is kind of in the pudding. And listen, things evolve. Just because maybe you helped build rosters that went to playoffs under Marvin Lewis and you did go to the playoffs 5 straight times, a decade's a long time in sports, man, and you've only gone to the playoffs twice. And I knew he was going to hit us back with we've built championship teams before. Okay, but how many times do we get to watch you take a swing at this and keep missing like you have in recent years? I just don't understand how they think the status quo works. I just don't.
For the record, bragging about the Marvin Lewis years as the GM is not a flex. I would not be bragging about the inability to ever win a playoff game. That would not be a job well done by a GM in the NFL when the whole league is designed to have parity and different people winning those games.
And I knew he was going to come back with, we built the Super Bowl team. Okay, you did, but you followed it up with a championship. I'll give you that. But then you followed up with 3 straight years of not making the playoffs. And in a 10-year window, you've made it twice. That's not success.
You're right. But he should stick to the Super Bowl and AFC championship argument in back-to-back years. We're not that far removed from it. It was with Zach Taylor as the head coach, and that's legitimate success. It's with the same court. Like that I can listen to and say, okay, at least you have a legitimate argument there. The Marvin Lewis stuff is not a plus on your side. To me, it's a negative. I would be like, that is part of the reason you should be fired.
But you've had 3 off seasons since the AFC Championship game, the second AFC Championship game, to continue to improve this roster. And not only have you not improved it, the roster has gone this way. Now, listen, did I see some individual improvement on defense as the season went along? Yes. The other thing I take away is he talked about, we just need to find a way to win games. 12 one-score losses in the last few years. It's a play here. It's a technique error there. No, you don't have enough good players to win those games. 12 times, you lose 1 or 2 close games, I might give you that. When you lose 12, you're not good enough. And maybe it was just your quarterback was good enough to keep you in those close games. That's the only reason you were in those close games. Even the 2 losses that your quarterback didn't play and Joe Flacco did, it wasn't because of him. It was because of the other side of the football. So please, don't give me this, we just got to find a way to win 1 score. No, you don't. Well, you do, but you're going to do it when you have better players.
Can I say the 1 score stat thing that people constantly bring up in the NFL is silly to me? Like, I always hear stats, whether I was talking about Zach Taylor's record, why he's not a good coach because the Bengals have a losing record in 1 score games, whatever. Everyone always brings 1 score records up for different things. Go look at the spreads on a weekly basis in the NFL. Right. All of them are within 1 score. They're all supposed to be 1 score games. There aren't a lot of games that aren't 1 score. It's not that big of a deal, like regardless of what the 1 score thing is. Like most games are 1 score in the NFL. If you're not playing 1 score games, you're either really freaking good or really freaking bad. Yeah, so unless it's one of those two, which is pretty obvious it's going to be one of those two, then everyone's probably got that same deal. Like if they're good, they've probably won more one score games than they've lost. If they're bad, they've probably lost more than they won because they probably played mostly 1 score games.
The other thing I took away is he used the word collaborative about 9 gazillion times, that we do things in a collaborative way. And I can't remember who asked the question, but it was, I'm paraphrasing here, was, well, let's just say you have a player A and player B, and one guy likes player A and the other guy likes player B. Who makes the decision on that? And he said, well, we talk it out and we usually come to a collaborative decision. No, you didn't. If a guy likes one player better than the other player, maybe he got talked into it or bullied into it, but don't tell me it's a collaborative. And maybe the collaborative isn't a good thing. Maybe somebody does have to be the final say and say, no, the buck stops here. I like this player for this reason. Thank you for your input. Have a good night. And that's probably indeed what happens. But he kept using collaborative. And when you hear that, it feels like that's just everybody wants to make sure nobody's responsible for this mess.
That's exactly what I hear when I hear that. I hear nobody is accountable.
Right. That's right.
That's what that says to me directly. Now, I'm actually a little more curious about how you guys handled this from like a media perspective. I know you mentioned that you guys were talking about wanting to make sure you knew what questions were going to be asked and you had all your bases covered. Like it was a strategized approach from the media members. How did that all go? How did you collaborate on that? And how did you think it went?
We didn't. I mean, we ended up not doing it. We all had our own stuff. I mean, I typed out 5 questions that I wanted. I looked at Paul Daner to my right. He had like 6 or 7 questions typed out. Kelsey Conway's to his right, and she's got questions on her laptop. And you just couldn't get to all of them because it was a free-for-all. And I mean, we could have gone for another hour and probably not covered all the bases, to be quite frank. And we went a full hour.
Did you think it went well in terms of getting the stuff out there that needed to be asked?
Yeah. And again, he wasn't, I mean, I think people wanted us to ask, why are you such a disgrace? You should be fired. Nobody, that's not going to, I mean, I asked him the question. I asked him, Jason Williams from the Inquirer followed it up with why should you keep your job, basically, was the way he asked it. And it was a fair question. I don't know what else in that regard fans would have wanted. I was disappointed when he talked about, we played better in the second half and we got our quarterback back, blah, blah, blah. Listen, my guy, you won 3 games in the second half of the season against losing record Baltimore, losing record Miami, god-awful Arizona. Don't tout that you were better when Joe got back and the team was better. You beat 3 bad teams, 3 losing teams. Congratulations to you.
So,
and that's the thing for me. They got buffaloed last year by winning those last 5 games and thinking, okay, we're close. We lost 1-score games. It's not going to happen again. We'll change the coordinator. That'll make all the difference. Now we played pretty well second half and, won some ball games and again had a couple of close losses. Okay, if you want to get Buffalo by that and not make changes, I will say this: I don't think this is going to be a quiet off season by any stretch. I do think they'll be active on the free agent market, and hopefully they figure out a way to draft better.
Honest assessment, true vibes, no shtick, no wanting to beat up on the Bengals or anything. What was like your vibe coming out of that room after that press conference?
I'm glad he did it. But it doesn't change my opinion of him or them.
Yeah, I mean, nothing said was too interesting or like, that's something that we haven't talked about much or anything like that.
No, not to me. I mean, I thought it was pretty run of the mill, to be honest with you. Again, I'm glad he did it. I appreciate him for doing it. I think if he talked to us more often, you wouldn't have an hour free for all like you had. I think you'd have a more controlled environment. I mean, it felt like everybody had their stuff that they wanted, which is fine. I mean, that's part of what a press conference is, but it got unwieldy at times, in my opinion. Honestly, I faded out about 30 minutes into it. Like, what else is he going to answer? And then we started asking questions that should be asked at the combine about your draft strategy for this year and free. And he's right. I'm not going to knock him for these. Like, we're just into the draft process. And I believe that. That's not a knock. I mean, you're just coming out of the college season. That's kind of where you should be on a January day we're just diving into the draft process. So I don't know what people thought he was going to answer there, to be quite frank.
And then Jeremy Rao raises his hand. It's like, what's your favorite Easter candy?
No, nobody did that. I'll give that.
All right. The Zach Taylor being the longest tenured head coach in the AFC North now after Mike Tomlin.
Almost in the NFL.
Yeah, almost in the NFL. But Mike Tomlin steps down. I mean, it is comical. The jokes write themselves here from the Bengals fans' perspective, Skinny. What is again, I hate to keep asking you that, but what was kind of your take when you saw the Mike Tomlin news?
I thought it was coming in one way or the other. Either they were going to fire him. I was a little surprised he stepped aside. I'll say that much. But I thought a change was coming and a change was needed. I mean, that's the part. The Steelers have been just feel like they spin their wheels so much. They've been trying to get the quarterback right since Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think that doesn't fall on Mike Tomlin. That falls on their personnel department and their general manager to find a quarterback that can be a long-term solution. And they haven't done that. They keep piecemealing this together. And I think he is a very good coach. And wherever he lands next is getting one of the best head coaches in the NFL, in my opinion. You don't have as many winning seasons in a row as he had without being a good coach, because of this league, man. Rosters can be in flux so much that you're eventually going to land with a dud roster. And he's landed with kind of a dud offensive roster for a few years, and he's found ways to win and make the playoffs. Problem is then they're drafting, middle of the pack, and they probably haven't been in that spot where they can go get a franchise quarterback. They can't find that franchise quarterback. And so maybe even for him, he's like, I just keep trying this, and they keep throwing the Russell Wilsons and Aaron Rodgerses and Mason Rudolphs of the world at me, and I can't win with these guys. I can't win playoff games with these guys. And it's time to go get a fresh start somewhere else. So I think in his case, I think that was probably the best for him too.
Yeah.
The Harbaugh firing, we were sitting at lunch the day of the Browns game, and I said, I'm telling you, if Harbs loses tomorrow night, either he's going to go or Lamar's got to go. And somebody said, no way. There's no way they're making a change. I said, I'm just telling you, it feels like it's kind of the stage of they just can't win together for whatever reason that is. So somebody's going to probably have to go. And arguably a Hall of Fame coach. I think he's on that cusp of being a Hall of Fame coach, John Harbaugh, after one losing season gets let go. Here in Cincinnati, status quo across the board for everybody. And listen, I want to be frank that I don't think Zach Taylor should be fired. I've been on the fire Duke Tobin train for a long time, but it is interesting that expectations in other markets are way different than they are in this market.
It's just fascinating to watch it happen in this year. What the Bengals go first and say, yep,
we're good.
We're keeping our guys. Everything's fine. We're going to run it back. And then you see those dominoes fall around them. And it's like, I maybe you feel differently, but I think every Bengals fan would probably kill to trade Zach Taylor out for Mike Tomlin or John Harbaugh right now.
Right. No question. And that's the weird part is the only thing that might be a saving grace is Goofy's out. Because I do think based on the statement that Mike Brown put out, because he put both Zach and Duke in that we believe they're the guys to do it. I do feel like it was putting those two together and almost letting them know you got one more year to get this right. And then we're going to make changes. And maybe the good part of Tomlin sitting out a year will be that he's going to be on the market next year if things go haywire for the Bengals. I think every fan would wish the Bengals go to the Super Bowl next year. And I know people might say, well, that's going to save Zach Taylor's job. Listen, man, if the cat takes you to the Super Bowl twice, he's done a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Overall, yeah, I mean, he deserves to be kept. But if not, maybe you do fall into a Tomlin.
Is this an advantage or disadvantage for the Bengals next season that the Ravens and the Steelers are both resetting with new head coaches? Or I've heard this argument. Do you think there's any legitimacy to the idea of it being beneficial that the Bengals should have ripped the Band-Aid off now and reset while those other two teams are resetting at the same time, so you don't end up doing it a year later when they're kind of already into their process and now you're behind the eight ball?
Yeah, the only thing I will say, though, again, I'll go back. I think it is a championship caliber offense. I don't think anybody would argue with that. If you do some right moves in the offseason defensively, I think this team very much is a playoff team that has a chance in an AFC that still looks extraordinarily wide open, probably even going into next year, that you can make a deep run in the playoffs. I don't think it's that far-fetched or that far away from that taking place. But, Duke Tobin, you got to make the right moves. So
advantage or disadvantage to be the only one with the returning head coach in the AFC?
I think it's an advantage because I think, you're another year of Lamar getting banged up, and it feels like this is happening more frequently with him, right? And they've tried to take the run game away from him more and more to try to save him. And so it feels like they're kind of retooling. How much more pounding can Derrick Henry take, for goodness sakes? And the Steelers, as I mentioned, they're a mess on offense. They have no playmakers outside of DK Metcalf, and I don't even think he's an elite playmaker either on offense. I mean, they just don't have a very good roster. So no matter what coaches take over this year, I think they're facing an uphill battle because of their rosters.
Will the Bengals be the favorite in the AFC North?
I think they will be.
Interesting. What is there any chance Shedeur Sanders usurps us all and is the king of the AFC North next year?
Slim to none.
Okay. All right. One more thing on the Bengals. Former Bengals Kijana Carter and Peter Warrick have been named to the 2026 College Football Hall of Fame class. Skinny, who would you rather be, Kijana Carter or Peter Warrick?
Who would I rather be?
Well, I don't know what they've done since their NFL days. So let's just talk about their football careers because maybe they have personal things going on that would make this an obvious answer. But
Peter Warrick at least had a healthy NFL career. Kijana really never did. I mean, he ripped up his knee early on and was never the player that you were hoping he was going to become. Maybe he never was going to be. We see a lot of college running backs that don't translate to the NFL. I don't think he was one of them. I think he was going to be a good NFL running back, but obviously the injury kind of robbed him of that, and you never saw him. I mean, and Peter never was going to be a great NFL wide, like a number one. He just didn't have the body type for it, but he was a serviceable one and certainly a good return guy. And I don't know if he's worthy of a number one or of a first round pick, but at least Peter paid some level of dividends.
So you're saying you'd rather be Peter Warrick then?
Correct. Both were great college players, though.
Here's the only thing. Yeah, I mean, number one overall pick is pretty cool. Kijana was number one overall pick. Second in the Heisman. Was Warwick even in the Heisman race?
That's a good question.
I don't think he was like invited to the.
No, I don't think he was. I don't remember that.
His name might have been involved, but
I can't believe he didn't finish top 10 at least in Heisman voting.
I think he was maybe like 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that. Yeah. I think he was like outside that top group, so not exactly in the conversation. And I don't know. There's almost something like the what if would suck for you personally, but for everyone else talking about you, the what if could kind of like Peter Warwick ends up as kind of a bust in his career. Kijana Carter's looked at as kind of like, well, he was gonna be good if he didn't get hurt. So I don't know which is better. I guess maybe getting to that second contract and earning more money is the better option.
I think that I think that's the big part of it.
Yeah.
I'm looking up Peter Warwick. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna see
where he finished in the Heisman.
Yep. I don't want the app. Give me a break. Why do things do this? Just let me call it up on the phone. Thank you kindly. He was 6th in the Heisman in 1999.
Okay, so right about where we were saying. All right, college football. The national championship is Monday night. We have Indiana against Miami, and it's at Miami. It's a Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida, which is crazy. 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Indiana is an 8.5 point favorite. The total is 47.5. How much would you rather it be Ohio State than Miami right now?
What do you mean?
I would kill, like, as much as it was fun to watch the playoffs play out, now that we're here in the championship game, I would kill for this to be Indiana-Ohio State rematch rather than Indiana-Miami.
Yeah. The thing I'll tell you, though, is that Miami defense is legit, man. It's legit. But you know what? I'm sick of picking against Indiana. I mean, I was all in on the Oregon train. I had them in a money line. I took the points and felt great about it. And I looked down and see the pick six. Oh, it is weird. Have you heard the conspiracy theories now about the pick sixes?
No.
That somehow Indiana's got the signals of the other team. Like that's why they're getting so many early game pick sixes, is they know what play's coming.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I love a good conspiracy, though.
It is weird. They do get a lot of them. They've had a bunch.
Interesting. What is Connor Stallions up to these days?
That's a great question.
I thought he was podcasting last we heard.
Great question. Now, that being said, I mean, they got grown ass men. I mean, they really do. They just bully you.
Does Miami have a chance to keep it close in your opinion?
Yes, because of their defense. But I'm not. Listen, I'm laying the points. I'm not going against Indiana. I'm not going to keep watching games where Indiana goes up 7-0. Then it might be 7-7, and then you look, it's 14-7. They block a punt, it's 21-7. Their defense gets a stop, it's 28-7. I've watched this for the last two games. Listen, I don't think Alabama was great by any shakes, but they were a playoff-worthy, playoff-caliber team for sure. They destroyed them. I think Oregon still might be the second best team in the country, in my opinion, to Indiana, with Ohio State even below them a notch. And they destroyed Oregon in every way imaginable. So I don't see how you can pick against them in any way, shape, or form at the moment. They're great.
I'm not sure what this number would have to be before I'd bet on Miami.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I would even put it with something else and put the juice up and take it to like 11.5, and I don't know if I'd feel good. That said,
I'm talking
the Miami
I'm talking 21.
Wow.
Like if it was 21.5 right now, I'm not saying I'd bet Indiana, but I don't think I'd be able to bet Miami. I'm not saying it's going to be that big of a spread, but I just have zero confidence in betting against Kurt Cignetti and Indiana in this situation right now. Absolutely none.
If it was 21.5, I would probably bet Miami, but because I'd probably get suckered into it. But it just feels like they just pile on as the game goes along, and they just start bullying you on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And I mean, they're great. You got to finish it off. I mean, you're not great until you win the championship, but they're great.
What a story it'd be if Miami found a way to win and beat them. At the same time, it'd be the most forgettable national championship ever in college football. Think about that. In years past, we've always had two of the teams with the best season because we've just selected the best teams at the end of the year. We've never done a bracket where a team sneaks in that maybe shouldn't have even been in and then plays their way all the way to the championship without Carson Beck is a known name, but he's not a star quarterback.
But it's still an iconic college brand, right? From a football perspective. I mean, it's slipped over the years, but it's still.
It is, but Skinny,
it's still a thing.
In 6 years, if we're trying to recall this game, unless Carson Beck throws for 600 yards and 7 touchdowns or something tomorrow, we're going to be like, who was on that Miami team with Mario Cristobal's weird man tits? Like, that's what we're going to be saying about this group.
I'll remember Ruben Bain because he'll be a Bengal.
How weird was Mario Cristobal after they won that game over?
I didn't see. I saw the end of the game. I turned it over to something else as soon as the game was over. As soon as they threw the Hail Mary and didn't get it.
Well, he got up on the podium for the celebration. He was all pissed off at the sponsor and like the TV people. He's like, can we get our guys up here and get some of you people who don't matter off the stage? And then like they handed him just the little like top of a trophy. It was just like a little gold football thing. He like looked at it and rolled his eyes like, what is this piece of junk? And then afterwards, he's on with SVP to start the late Sports Center, and SVP wanted to ask him about like, I know everybody brings up Miami bringing back, and Mario hates that storyline that the U is back or whatever. So Scott was going to say, I know everyone brings that up, but what are you most excited about in the moment for this win, tonight's win? And before he could even get it out, Mario starts going, don't say it, Scott. Don't even say it. Don't say it. And like stops his question. It was for a guy who won the biggest game of his life to that point. He was not a very happy dude. That's all I'll say.
I would guess that he pulls off this win, he'll be a happy guy.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, though. How long will it take for general football fans to hate Kurt Cignetti, assuming he wins this and we go forward from here?
I'm not so sure they don't hate him already with that goofy stare he's got at times, like the arrogance and cockiness. But I got to tell you, man, dude's backed up everything he said. If you talk the game, boy, and you back it up, I can't. There's nothing I can do about that.
Well, I've just, to your point, I've just started to see the first like hot take artists that are going the opposite direction of him. They're starting to say like, oh yeah, he's actually a jerk and he's a creepy weirdo and that. But I did see a graphic the other day that was saying like, who is America rooting for in this game? And over 90% of the nation is rooting for Indiana, allegedly, according to this graphic.
Great. It's still a great, no matter the NIL era or not, where you can buy rosters, it's still a great story.
Yeah, and
they figured it out.
And people love Snetti. He's he's no nonsense. He's about all the things that people say they want their sports people to be about, right? And
right.
We'll see where it goes from here. It's going to be annoying as soon as he starts getting the national media coverage for an entire year that he's going to get after they win this. But all right, give me your pick. What do you got?
I'm taking Indiana. I'll go Indiana 27-10. I think their defense will make it really, really hard on the Miami offense. I think Miami's defense will keep them in it, but there'll be a turnover here or turnover there and a couple of short fields, and Indiana will do enough offensively to win it comfortably.
Yeah, we're pretty similar here. I'm going 31-13, so we're both on Indiana and the under, so not going to be a lot of separation there. We'll have to add in some extra bets for the Super Bowl to give you a chance to catch up there at the end of the year. All right, Reds, real quick here, Skinny. They added veteran right-hand reliever Pierce Johnson to a free agent with a free agent deal. He spent the last 3 seasons with the Braves with a 3.36 ERA. Had 126 strikeouts in 115 1/3 innings. He was a first-round pick by the Cubs in 2012. It looks like he's going to be the second highest-paid reliever for the Reds this year. 1 year, $6.5 million.
Can he hit third or fourth in the lineup?
I don't believe so.
No, it is a good addition. I mean, listen, they've done a pretty good job of building the bullpen the last couple of seasons, in my opinion. And I think this is a nice pickup in the bullpen. This is the perfect way to build your bullpen. Obviously has a pedigree as a former first round pick, has pitched pretty well the last few years. So there's production to go off of. No, I think it's a good signing. It doesn't move it. It's not like I'm going to go buy a half a season ticket package because they got Pierce Johnson. I mean, time's running out, man. You better add that bat. I'm just telling you, you better add that bat.
Reds, we are all in this season. Come see Pierce Johnson at Great American Ballpark.
With J.J. Bleday batting fifth and playing left field.
What is going to be? Remember when they used to do the slogans for season tickets? Do they still do that?
That's a good.
I like the Bronson Arroyo all-in one with the poker chips.
Yeah,
we're all in this year.
Yeah, we're all in. I me and slogans. I love them.
I think they had 86 wins, maybe.
I love the Marvin Lewis "Run on your own gas," whatever the hell that means. On your own
gas. All timer. All right, get some Ask Skinny anything. Do you agree with Lance McAllister? The Reds should consider moving their fences back or raising them so it's not so easy to hit homers at Great American Ballpark, given their inability to obtain and retain power hitters in the current era of the sport?
I would agree with that, except you'd knock out a handful of rows of seats, and I think there is a parking garage right under there, so there'd be some infrastructure issues. So I don't even know if it's physically possible to move the fences back. But I do.
Lord knows we don't have any extra seats available in that ballpark that aren't being used.
The one thing I would say is, to his point, I don't think he's wrong, because you haven't built a power team in a power hitting ballpark. The only thing I think about not doing that is, I'd have to look at splits for like the Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo's, Andrew Abbott's. Are they significantly different home and road? I don't think they probably are. So where the fences are should be helping your slap hitting team a little bit more. But the problem is you got nobody hit the ball at the ballpark other than Ellie, and he goes through a 45 game stretch not hitting one last year.
All right. Would you rather be the number 1 overall pick or rookie of the year in your sport? Who is this about? Somebody right now? Are we like dealing with a race like that?
Not off the top of my head. No, I think I'd rather be rookie of the year. It means I've taken at least a 1 year step in the right direction. Now, baseball, there's a lot of guys that, if you go back and look at their careers, that were like rookies of the year or finished runner-up rookie of the year, and you're like, that guy was runner-up rookie of the year, really? I think it depends on the sport. Like in the NFL, that means you're probably on a pretty good trajectory towards that second contract, which is huge. In baseball, I think I'd rather be the first overall pick because of the bonus money I get right away for that. That's already pocketed. By the time I become rookie of the year, if I'm a 23rd round pick, I haven't exactly broken the bank. And at that point, you're still probably now 5 or so years to even, or four or so years to even get to arbitration, let alone free agency. So it's not like you're going to get rewarded for that. So I think it's sport dependent, to be honest with you.
I think I'd rather be the number 1 overall pick. I mean, for legacy purposes, I'd much rather be the number 1 overall pick. I don't think anyone really cares about the Rookie of the Year award.
I will say this. I don't know what year it was, but if you gave me the year of this, I wouldn't know who the Rookie of the Year was. I do know Jamarcus Russell was a number 1 overall pick, right? He was a bust.
Perfect example.
Bust, but I do remember him being a first overall pick.
Right. Well, I mean, you can say that almost with any year. You can remember a lot of number 1 overall picks in their year. You cannot remember many Rookie of the Years.
Who was I think he was a first overall pick, or maybe he's just the Bennett kid from UNLV. I think that the Cavaliers took the 1 year in the NBA. What was his name?
Anthony Bennett.
Yeah, wasn't he a first overall pick?
Maybe the worst NBA player ever.
Yeah.
Much less the number 1 overall pick ever.
I remember him.
I think he was out in 3 years.
Yeah, he was bad.
And he never averaged more than like 4 points a game. And like he was number 1 pick, so teams were trying to give him a chance and playing him.
Yeah.
But he was horrendous. It was insane. Yeah. He was a kid that played in Canada, and he had like a really late arrival in terms of his being a prospect. Everyone he blew up late in the summer, and everyone's like, oh yeah, he's the best player in the country out of nowhere. And then he went one and done, and it did not work out. All right. Okay. I think I'm missing part of this question.
Okay.
Oh, I know what it was though. It was the which is the most annoying trend from color analysts in sports broadcasts? Okay?
Yeah, I've got that one via email too. So,
okay, you've got that one?
Yeah. All right, so here they put 4 of these on here. I've got one for myself too. Number 1 is the gotta see if it counts immediate comment from stepping on the play-by-play call after every shot in any basketball game before the half or end of game. That is an annoying one to me.
Yeah, it's happening a lot now because of the review stuff, yeah.
Yep. The ooh and ah and making noises during NFL games. You get a lot of that. This is the one. The last 2 are the one for me, and I've got one I'm going to add in there too. The field goal or extra point jinx comments and subsequent chuckles if one is missed.
Or free throws.
There's no jinx if you go, he's a 90% foul shooter. Oh, you just put the jinx on him. No, you didn't. You just stated a fact that he's a 90% foul shooter. That's not a jinx.
Correct.
I mean, you're
right.
That one annoys me too.
I agree.
He's 12 for 12 inside 40 yards this year. Hope we don't jinx him. Oh, look at what we did. No, he was 12 for 12. It's a fact.
It's just like it's the ultimate hack move during a broadcast, and yet most guys still can't avoid using it when it comes up. So,
right. Here's the one that I love this one too. Not choosing a side on a call, then tossing it to the rules analyst and immediately agreeing with the analyst. For me, they're like, "What do you think of that one, Tony? I don't know. What do you think, Gene?" Gene gives it. Yeah, I agree with Gene.
you're the analyst. You're there to have an opinion on what's happening. You're there to tell people what you're seeing. And when you're just sitting there being like, really saying nothing, or like end of the game situation type stuff, and they have nothing to say about what they actually think is going to happen.
Correct.
It's like, well, I don't know. Like, for example, in basketball, you don't have to get a 3 here. You don't need a 3 yet. You can still go for a 2. It's like, that doesn't help. That doesn't tell us anything about what you think is going to happen.
Correct. No, correct. The other one for me is the such and such came to play today or tonight. I hate that. What do you think he came to do? Take a dump?
Hey, he was ready. They were ready to play today. They weren't ready to play today.
Yeah, and I told you this one. And you get this more on highlights shows than anything else, but you'll occasionally hear it in a game.
I thought of you. I did this week, and I thought of you.
Did you really?
I did it a little bit accidentally. I mean, it wasn't as egregious as what you would normally think of, but I kind of did it, and I immediately thought of you.
Go ahead and make what did your call sound like?
When say like you're going to a commercial or something and a guy hits a 3 and they show the highlight and you're like, and he says, "In your face with that one, bucko," or something like that.
He didn't say that at all. I mean, you don't know what he said because you're not there in the moment to know what he said.
Yeah, I think it was more of like a I want to say like an argument between Darren Horn and an official maybe, and I was sort of giving like, and he said this. I was like, well, I mean, he may not have actually said that. You know what I mean? Like,
correct.
Yeah, a little bit different from what you're talking about, but like, yeah, that is a weird thing that broadcasters always do.
He tells Rutgers he's got the answer. Nah, he didn't. He just didn't tell him that. He didn't. He might have shown them that he had the answer.
He said, "You're not stopping me today." Oh, it looks like he didn't say anything. Actually, made that shot.
Say
actually,
a word. Yeah, exactly. He might have just said "F you" for all we know.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be my favorite. Somebody just said he just said "blank you" to the other team.
He said, "I've got swamp ass" as he ran back up the court. I love this question. Has Skinny ever gotten the yips with anything in sports or in life?
I can't make a 3-foot putt to save my ass. You give me a 15-foot right to lefter, I'll drain that son of a gun almost every time.
You give me the permanent yips with it?
The guys I play golf with, they watch me change my 3-foot putting grip, stance, style. I did one a couple years ago where I was so frustrated I started doing it side saddle. I'm like, it can't be any worse. And I can feel like I turn the putter in my hand. I can feel it. I just can't keep the right pendulum thing. It's all in my head. It's all in my head.
That's incredible. That's a good one. 3-foot putt. I basically had
I usually hope that the guys I'm playing with, if it gets close enough, like maybe 3 feet, they go, "That's good." Yeah, that's good because I'm so good.
You're good. Pick it up.
But my one buddy, a lot of times he'll go, "You got to make that one, man." I'm like, "No, you're right. I do. I need to make that one."
Missing 3-footers to end up with pars left and right when you should have had your birdies.
And honestly, what I should start doing is after I leave a putt 3 feet short or have a putt at that, like just go up and hit it and don't even think about it, as opposed to remarking it for a second, making sure it's still my turn. Am I still out? Just to hell with it. I'm going. I'm just walking up and hitting it.
That's it. I'm a grip and rip guy. I like to keep pace of play moving because my golf game is
a pace of play guy. Trust me, I can get through. My friend and I can get through 18 holes in 2.5 hours if nobody's in front of us. We're big pace of play guys, but a lot of times just because you may have rolled a putt into somebody's line, you want to maybe mark it.
Get out of their way.
I'm just going to start going up there and hitting it. I'm to hell with it. I don't care if I just stepped in your line. That's your problem, not mine, my guy.
Yeah, I got to make this putt without thinking about it. Yeah. I had the baseball equivalent of that my senior year. I could not make just like if you're warming up to toss, standing, I don't know, 20, 30 feet apart, whatever it is, I couldn't make that throw. Or like the throw from the pitcher's mound to first base, I couldn't make that throw. But you could sit like within the same 5 seconds, if you were like, Brian, go warm up there and toss, I'd like skip it to the guy in front of me, throw it 10 feet over his head, skip it to him. But then if you're like, okay, go ahead and pitch right now. I mean, I was as accurate of a pitcher as we had, would hit my spot every time. And then if you were like, go long toss and throw it 240 feet, I'd hit the guy in the chest every time, but I could not make like the 25-foot throw. So like, Mike Holtz, who coached us at Holy Cross at the time, so much so that
as a matter of fact,
he'd literally get so mad at me during that soft toss that he'd just see me like short hopping the guy or air mailing. He'd just be like, just stop. I'm done watching this. And he'd make me just go like stretch instead of throw.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
it's completely in your head that it affects your mechanics.
It lasted for like a month and a half, and then I got over it. But I literally could not make the throw for like a straight month and a half, no matter what I did.
We've seen some baseball pitchers have that issue sometimes. Comebackers that they. I was a jog it over and underhand flip it. Yeah,
that's
what.
I have to. Yeah,
you can do that. But sometimes you got to, if it's a certain way, you got to turn and fire it, and maybe that's the best thing. Those are the ones you don't think about. The ones you think about are the one hop comebacker where you've got all day to pat the glove and then go throw it.
Yeah.
I can see that. Never happened to me. I can see that though.
Yeah, like if I was catching, for instance, and had to throw a runner out, no problem. On the money. If I was playing shortstop or third, no problem. On the money, bullet, fine. But if I had that, like you said, pat the glove and just a soft toss from me to you, couldn't make the throw. For about a month and a half, and then it was fine. But
that's totally in your head without question.
Yeah. We'll wrap it up with this.
I got one more to do off email.
Say what?
I got one more off email too.
Okay. Skinny has traveled a lot for work over the years. What are his favorite or underrated cities for that purpose? So in other words, judging off convenience, ease of travel, accommodations, restaurants, views, etc.
Believe it or not, number one on my list is Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay.
Easy airport. Love the little bar scene that we would always go to. The hotel I stayed at was right across from the arena when I was covering UK. That would be one of my most underrated cities. Columbia, South Carolina, of all places.
That's pretty good.
I don't know.
I was not expecting that.
I don't know if the city would be considered underrated, but I always loved going there, even though I would always fly into Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then drive 2 hours. Part of the reason was I grew up in Tulsa, so every time I'd go there, I'd kind of visit the old neighborhood where I went to school in 4th and 5th grade and all that stuff. So there was a sentimentality to it. But Fayetteville, Arkansas is an awesome city. That campus, Arkansas's campus, is awesome. Their downtown is awesome. Fayetteville is up there for me. So there's two SEC cities actually are on my list.
That was my first road trip with NKU basketball. I called a home game against Texas Southern that went to double overtime. And then my very next game was a road trip to Arkansas, which we, chartered flight down there, stayed at a good hotel. For some reason, Dan Trame was there as a guest of Kevin Gessner because they had won a sponsorship there, one of those Norse Galoth packages. Yep. So they were on the trip. So I ate wings and talked about 9th region basketball with them. And everyone was like, don't get used to this. This is not how most road trips go in the Horizon League.
Yeah, that's probably good.
I've been chartering down to Fayetteville.
Yeah, you've come to find out. But that campus is terrific. I mean, their facilities are great. The downtown
arena is amazing.
Yeah, it is top notch. So yeah, I'm going to go with 2 SEC cities. Okay. Everything else is big city. I like, even though I broke 2 elbows there, I like Charlotte. I always enjoyed the trip to Charlotte.
Everyone seems to like Charlotte.
Yeah.
I liked being in Charleston, but I don't like driving around Charleston. That they got a lot of traffic for cities. It's not like, I don't know. It's not, it doesn't have a big city feel, but it has tons of traffic. I didn't love that. Yeah. All right. What's your other question?
All right. Do either of us watch any kind of NFL pregame show and why? And then the follow-up to it is what do you learn? How exactly are you entertained? I'm not. I can't stand them. I just totally. I would rather be watching CBS Sunday Morning and Face the Nation and something else until. And I'm not home on many Sundays either, mind you. Obviously because I'm covering. But the Sundays I am. I don't like College Game Day. I don't like any of that stuff.
Same. I've never watched the college or pro pregame shows. I didn't really like them even when I was younger, before the social media era now. But now it just feels like it's kind of the way of the highlight show. It's like, we've seen all these stories, we've seen all the highlights, and anything that they're going to tell me there, I saw throughout the week. They're kind of like a recap show to get you ready. Maybe other people that aren't working in sports don't have the time to be ingrained and see this stuff throughout their week on social media, but I've already seen it all. I'm not going to spend another 2 hours watching that before the
game. And again, you always have memories of your childhood, and that you're probably shaded by that. But the old NFL, the original NFL Today with Brent Musburger and Irv Cross and Jimmy the Greek Snyder and Phyllis George, that was awesome. I did watch that that was must-see TV for me every single solitary week. Again, different time, different place, different circumstance, all those things. But now, I think part of the problem with a lot of these shows today is you got 10 voices on a set. I don't need all 10. I don't need to hear from any of you guys, let alone 10 of you or 8 of you or 6 of you.
I grew up with Terry Bradshaw and Howie Long, and I always thought they stunk. I thought I hated that studio show when I was a kid, and so I really don't like it now since they've added 14 people, and now you got to see Gronk doing stuff. It's honestly, The shows that are good, the only show that's like that, a studio show that I've really enjoyed that's like that, is the old Inside the NBA post game with Shaq and Kenny and EJ. That's good because it's entertaining. It's something different. The rest of these shows, they're just doing something that's not entertaining.
The second part of this was, how is it that enough people watch Stephen A. Smith or Chris Russo that both are employed and well paid? That's like asking me, how does the world go around? I honestly, I have no answer for that. I don't. Neither one of them appealed to me. Listen, I'm in that group. The Barstool guys do nothing for me. And I know I'm in the minority with that for sure. Pat McAfee does literally below nothing for me, but obviously somebody thinks they're worth it because that's why they're getting paid. I don't get it. I'm in that group to tell you I don't understand it, but okay.
I mean, it's like what I talk about with restaurants, right? Like everyone says they hate all these fast food joints, yet there are a million fast food joints on every corner.
Right.
So someone's eating there. When I was a kid, Jerry Springer was the big thing. No one watched it. Everyone hated it and thought it was trash TV, yet it was on constantly and it dominated daytime television. Yep. So someone was watching. I think that's your answer there. It probably appeals to I guess it's the lowest common denominator, but there's a lot of them out there. So
no, there's no question. Yeah, I think that's the fair answer to that.
It's not made for me, and I've just kind of accepted that. I'm not big into the talking head. The funny thing is, I do love a good like sports talk radio show that is giving opinions and is just the host talking. It's not interviews. It's not segments. Like I like people giving their takes on stuff, but I don't need the silliness and the over the topness of the Stephen A. or the Skip Bayless, the fighting. Russo was a different deal, I felt like, because I didn't never listen to a ton of it, but to me, I felt like they had more of like an entertaining show that was more of a shtick or a bit than it was like, I don't know how seriously they took themselves doing that, but it seemed like they were doing a different thing maybe than Stephen A. Smith is doing.
Stephen A. Smith, for the life of me, I just don't understand the appeal
I don't get
whatsoever. It. I just don't. Pat McAfee the same way.
Or Skip Bayless, you could say the exact same thing.
Correct. No, correct.
Same way.
Yeah, I don't understand that one iota. And good for you. You've played the shtick off to make millions of dollars. I don't know how you can look yourself in the mirror and take yourself any way, shape, or form seriously.
Pat McAfee, I at least get because I don't think he's doing what they're doing, where he's lying to himself about everything he believes in and his takes all the time. He's just appeal to young guys who are kind of dumb and like loud and like obnoxious and like joking and like sports. Like they don't need anything to make sense or be funny or intelligent. It's just like, just talk sports in front of me and be loud and take your shirt off and holler and like
and curse every once in a while and we're good to go.
That's all I need. Yeah, just have like a certain vibe and like he's a friendly enough seeming like good energy type of guy. I get the appeal to him for certain people. I just don't think he does a very good show is all.
Yeah. Appreciate the questions. Had a lot of good ones this week.
That's all we got.
We will be back next week with some more college basketball conversation and much, much more as we also inch closer to spring training. Go get a bat, Reds. For Rick Broering, I'm Richard Skinner. It's been the Skinny Podcast, the weekly poetry edition, presented by Blake, the Attorney Maislin.